minutes.
Looks like we're live.
Looks like we're live. All right. So I wanted to invite you on today to have a conversation about what yesterday's conversation was like. And because you were on last week's as well, and I know you had so many insights because you shared them with me, that after I got a message from you yesterday saying, you believed that the conversation was supposed to be an expanded version of self-kindness, but when you reflected on it, it didn't seem like it was about self-kindness at all. And yet, as you progressed and shared your message with me, it was you realized that it was all about self-kindness. So I thought it would be great to have you here, have a conversation where anyone who wasn't on the call could actually have an opportunity to see what it was like, what were the insights, what the takeaways for you, and what might be still rumbling around today for you because you were on the call. So I'm going to leave it in your capable hands. And I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in whenever I have an insight as well. So go ahead. What's the biggest takeaway? Let's go.
Oh gosh, like you just said, there were really so many. I pulled out my notebook, my journal actually, and I wrote 5 pages of notes. I mean, just it wasn't like writing. It was like something would come up, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. And so I jot it down. And for me, what I find doing that, later on, things that rumble around, I've got sort of some key words and some takeaways. But just off the top of my head right now, I guess number one would be like just the value and the growth that can happen from a conversation, right? There were just a few of us on the call. And, it's different. We've got different backgrounds. We're coming from different places. We're in different spaces and moments in time. And yet to see and feel the parallels of our experience. So actually, this is just something even more now. It's like the more it keeps coming, Amy, really, like something that came up was, yes, the exchange, right? I got that yesterday afterwards, as reflecting on the call while I was baking cookies. And so this sense of exchange, right? I got off the call and I was like, man, I really got a lot out of that call. I really get a lot out of these, coffee and conversation mornings. This was only the second one. And then it struck me like, okay, well, I'm getting so much. And then I feel like I'm giving something, early in the call, actually, it was very early. We talked, you mentioned messages. And this isn't the first time you've mentioned like messages that appear, but yesterday I got it in a different way, and recognized that I would go into a question mode, like, wow, I keep seeing these police lights. Sometimes they actually look pretty. I see blue and red combined, and it's this beautiful, like purple magenta. So from the call yesterday, the way you had me look at it differently, I'm just going to refer to my notes, because you said, look at what you're seeing and then describe how you see it to get the message. I don't know if those were your words or mine, but I wrote, look at what you're seeing. How would you describe it? And, that's when we went into like, okay, I described it as purple, right?
Right. Can I jump in just for a sec?
Yeah.
Right. So whatever you're seeing is a message for you. And when you were saying that you would see the police cars go by and you'd see the red and yellow, you were thinking outside of yourself, meaning, oh, I wonder if there's an accident. I wonder if there's this. I wonder if there's that. Yeah. And then as you started to describe it, you said you saw the red lights and the blue lights, and without your glasses, and this is where I pulled out the nugget, without your glasses, you saw purple And I thought, right. So the purple for you, if you're looking at the chakras, the top chakra, the crown chakra is purple. And it's about a higher level of consciousness. It's about considering things different. So the message was for you. Yes, police cars are going by, and I'm sure they were on the way to something.
Yeah.
But when you witness it, then the message is for you. And that's one of the biggest things that I learned through the years for myself, and that, I share with you and the women I work with, is that everything that you're becoming aware of is a message for you. What we've been taught, though, is to look outside of ourselves to see what's going on elsewhere, when we really need to be taking in the information and considering what could it mean for us. Now, something else, when I was talking about the message you left me last night, was that I sent you a message back and I said, transcribe what you wrote, what you said to me. And this is another piece that's important, is paying attention to your words, because when you were speaking, when you were leaving me that message, I was like, oh gosh, oh, there's a nugget. Oh, there's a nugget. Oh, there's a nugget. There's so many nuggets that go undetected because we're always referencing everything outside of ourselves. However, words we use to describe something are our words. They come from within us. And when we stop or slow down and listen to what we're saying or write them down, you'll start to understand yourself better, and you'll be more connected to who you are. So, and I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but it's like all these little yummy pieces, they go undetected because we've been taught always to look outside of ourselves. Self-kindness is about looking inside of ourselves and paying attention to who we are and what we need. So,
no, that was huge. So
you lights.
Yeah. So even that, I'm getting something again, just to thinking about that, the perspective on the lights, it's when I have my glasses off, I see things differently. It's something I've noticed before, taking my glasses off. It's a different experience. I'm not just relying on like,
and a different message.
Right. So it's still just one scenario and getting the more messages that are there. Yeah. So
awesome.
Again, like this to me, it's so exciting because your strength is in these like translations, right? You are able to create this clarity, even though I may have some clarity, right? Or getting some message, by the way that you can pay attention to my words gives me that much more, right? Another example from the call yesterday was when we were talking about movement. We talked about being in park. We talked about transmission not shifting gears properly. Seeing so many people on bicycles and getting that sense of excitement. This like initial thought, this impulse, but that's what leads me to this piece of the follow the impulse. I'm going to look at my notes again.
Right, and I'm going to jump in while you're looking at your notes. So, I want to go into the part about what happened. Like you're on a walk in Montreal, you're down walking quietly and relaxing, and you're going for a walk. These bicycles pass you, and then the thought, the impulse that moves through you is excitement about riding a bike. And when you're on your bike, you like going fast. And then what happens is you get in your head and you start to make it wrong because you were on a relaxing walk. And what I shared with you is that nothing is wrong. And I've said this to you many times.
Billions.
Right. Follow every positive thought that comes into your awareness. Follow every positive thought. Don't make it wrong. Get curious about it. Have fun with it. Just explore it, because we're here to really explore. We're adventurers. We were born to discover absolutely everything. And of course, my tagline, discover the more that you are. We're here to explore and have fun. And yet the minute we have a thought, we analyze it, we make it wrong. Therefore, we feel, the excitement we had all of a sudden, it just goes down and slips away. And why does it do that? Because somewhere along the way, we were told, I was always told to not, oh, don't be so silly. That's ridiculous. I'm sure you had some kind of expression that was thrown your way as well to make what your thoughts were wrong.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. A few different things come up. Yeah. Yeah.
So honoring that truth is being kind to yourself. Playing with it is even being kinder to yourself. And the kindest way of being to yourself is to consider it, explore it, play with it a little further, and start taking some form of action. And even if you're walking, grab your phone, make notes, not forget it. Because we say to ourselves, oh, I'll remember that. Are you kidding me? Look, we have so many yummy thoughts coming into our awareness all at once. There's no time to remember every one of them. But if there's that one that comes down and you're like, oh, yeah, I remember. I like riding fast when I'm on my bike. If it, like, I kid you not, my body, I'm salivating because it's like the yumminess of, like, you love riding fast on your bike. When a thought comes into your awareness like that, jot it down and save it for later, and then explore and consider, which is what you did last night. You made notes, and then you went back and you captured, sometimes it was a word, sometimes it was a sentence, but you really played with that. So I'm going to step back and let you play more.
Yeah. So actually, I've found the page of my notes, and the key for me was follow every impulse. I think I had asked you. So sometimes I'll get a thought or an idea that pops up. Like prior to my walk yesterday, I thought, oh, it's nice out. I'm going to go out and walk. Friday. I'm going to get out and walk after work. It'll be great. And then I start to get in my head, instead of just getting ready and going, I started to, I can walk to Pharmaprix. I can walk to the drugstore. Oh, and then I can print my photos. Oh, I could go down by the canal and take some more pictures. So it was like this, all of a sudden I'm losing focus. And you gave me something really key yesterday that was new for me, or new in that moment, the way you said, luxuriate in that feeling. So you have a thought, really just luxuriate in the feeling that you're getting. And I experienced it yesterday after the call, again, baking the cookies. And I had a thought that I wanted to work on a drawing I started. And it was just, I was able to do that, right? I also wanted to stay in that moment of enjoying making the cookies that I was hungry for, because I also allowed myself to play with the recipe. It was something that was a new experience for me too. And I started to kind of get lost in following the recipe again. And I'm like, no, I wanted to keep feeling excited about it. And it was that, slow down, Lise, slow down. Like you're not in a hurry, right? I can take the time I need, slow down, and just feel it. Like, enjoy this moment of, enjoy this moment. And then it became almost playful.
Right.
So different. Yeah.
Right. And when your mind gets in the game and you're like, I want to go for a walk. And then you goes like, oh, and I can do this and I can do that. Because we grew up, I mean, how many of us have grown up hearing, don't waste your time. Do as much as you can in a short period of time, like just keep booting it out, like keep going, going, going. And yet there is, I'm going to say, a reality, and it's part of my reality. And it's that when you slow down, then you can have the awareness drop in and you can really shift things for yourself when you slow down. When you slow down, there's room for an insight to come in. However, when you're keeping your mind going from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, you get to the end of the day and you're exhausted and depleted, as opposed to slowing down and allowing yourself to consider. What happens in those moments is you get to the end of the day and you feel energized and full, and you're just sitting there and you're like smiling and no one's around because the day was that yummy, it was that good. So slowing down the body to quiet the mind.
So a huge shift for me has been in, you touched on it. You said, we've been sort of taught that we need to keep busy, or that that everything needs to have a purpose, right? So I get the thought, I want to go for a walk. I want to be outside. And then it was like my habits, my mind says, oh, we've got to have a purpose, right? If someone asks me, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going for a walk. Well, where are you going? What are you doing that for? I live alone. There's no one asking me those questions. But it's
right. Like, however, there's influences in your head.
They're in the voices in my head. Yeah. Still right. That,
Right. So when you said that, we're taught, and we are taught, the other thing is when it becomes repetitive, those things that we're taught, we become programmed, right? We're programmed to do as much as we can with the time we have and to not waste our time and go on a walk. There's no benefit to it. It serves no purpose.
Yeah.
However, it serves such a purpose because it's about connecting to yourself. And, sometimes the reason is just because I feel like it. Sometimes I've left the house before, and of course I have my husband here, and he'll say to me, where are you going? And I look at him and I smile as I leave and I say, I don't know. And he's like, well, are you meeting someone for a coffee? It's like, no, like, I don't know. I might drive out, and this is something I do. I'll go through a drive-through of a coffee shop, grab my coffee. Sometimes I'll just park in the parking lot and sit there just to be quiet and still and drink my coffee while it's hot, which I don't always do. And then there's other times I'll drive to, there's a really nice little spot about maybe 7 to 10 minutes from where I am. And it's a little church, and it is overlooking the ocean. And I go and I park there. And I roll down the windows and I feel the cool breeze and I watch the waves. Like, that's so yummy.
Nice.
Am I being productive? I absolutely am. Every time, and I want you to consider this for yourself and anyone who's watching, anytime you take time to slow down and really just feel that peace within, you are being productive because you are connecting to yourself. And the more connected you are to yourself, the easier it becomes for you to make choices that are in alignment with you. And that's important.
Right. Yeah. What I just got was, I had the thought, I remember now, I had the thought come up yesterday after my cookie baking, and I was halfway through a movie. And so I just from like out of nowhere, I don't recall what triggered it, but I took a break to make a tea during the movie. And I had this thought of, wow, I haven't been very productive today, that word. And I'm like, wait a minute. I have been very productive because I've been following the impulses. I've been
Right.
I had a fantastic phone call to start the day. I baked these amazing newish cookies. I've been following every impulse. I'm doing exactly what I want, right? It's like
Right.
I'm producing more of me.
Right.
So yeah, I like that. I'm gonna remember that. It's when I have that, or if I have that, oh, am I being productive? I absolutely am. I'm producing more of me.
Right. Right. And like that's one of the things I often say. It's on one of my free offers. It says, "Are you ready for more of you in your life?"
Mm,
Right? And even some of the writing I did earlier this morning, it was recognizing differently that, we hear, I don't know anyone I haven't met that hasn't said that they're a people, they aren't a people pleaser. Like we've grown up, we've been taught how to please people, how to be kind, how to be polite. We have been taught, and I'm going to take it a little deeper. We've been programmed to be in service to others, and there is nothing wrong with doing things for others and being kind to others. Absolutely. However, there's one part of the equation that keeps on getting missed, and that is the part where consider what you need to do for yourself, consider what you want to do for yourself.
mm,
Right. One of the things I wrote, and then I read this to you earlier. I want to read it.
mm,
And it was about, yes, I'm not going to give you the whole synopsis here, but it wasn't until that moment, all right, that I started to consider my life. What did I want? What did I need? And nothing that I wanted or needed or materialistic in nature. I wanted to feel good about myself, and I needed to feel like I mattered.
mm,
And I think those are two things that
mm,
are really true for all of us. We want to feel like we matter.
mm.
However, if we are discounting and diminishing who we are, no matter how nice others are to us and no matter what they tell us, we're not going to hear it because our vibration when it comes to ourselves is low.
Mhm.
Feel worthy.
Right. No, it makes sense. Again, going back to this notion of kindness, when I recognize that I was following my impulses, I realized, wow, that this is kindness. This is really being kind. How can I be kind, like genuinely, truly kind to others if I'm not being kind to myself? You
Right.
know, yeah, it's something that I did not see before, having,
Right.
I like how you use the word programmed. Um, yes, we can always be taught, we can always learn new things, and we can change our programming, right? I may have thoughts that are programmed, but I keep
Right.
thinking them, so they stay the same. All it takes is upgrading, finding
Right.
another, a new piece of code, a new line of code to replace the programming that really works for me,
Right.
right? So
And we
now,
update our computers, but we don't stop and consider, and that's the big thing. We don't stop to consider what are the thoughts that we have, what are we repeating
mhm,
that doesn't serve a purpose, that just it's an upgrade or I won't say an upgrade. It's an update of programming, and yet it's an update of the same stuff we've been doing. It just looks a little different. So we think we're
mhm,
moving forward. And,
mhm.
I
Yeah.
remember using this analogy years ago. It's like I started picking up speed in my life, and there came a point where I stopped and I looked around and nothing had changed. Well, that's because I still had my foot nailed to the floor, so I'm running around in circles, still doing the same things, but just a little differently, tweaking them. And I got to a point where I stopped and I was like, wait a minute, it felt like there was movement, and there was. I just picked up speed and focused again on the things that weren't serving me.
Right.
So we still end up in the same place, right?
Right. That's something that came. I'm just looking at my note, glancing at my notes again. And after I wrote luxuriate in the feeling, what's interesting is I really enjoy being able to take notes during our conversations as well, because I have this written in like large letters, cursive writing, and the way it's written, I get the feeling. Like I need to not just remember the words, but it's that the feeling,
Right.
knowing what I'm going for when I want to, when I feel good. It feels like this. I'm luxuriating in
Right.
right.
And when we feel good, we feel lighter, we feel open. We're not looking for anything negative.
Right.
When we're connected to who we are as individuals, we're not looking outside of ourselves to see what other individuals are doing.
Exactly.
Right? We're connected to our truth. And then when we're connected to our truth, we see different possibilities for ourselves that otherwise we wouldn't see.
Absolutely. So right below that, luxuriating the feeling, it was towards the, we were actually wrapping up the call, I believe. Yeah, it's close to the end of my notes, so it must be close to the end of the call. And I mentioned, I really like how you have the Zoom set up for the weekly calls. I have it in my calendar. It's a recurring appointment. It's easy. I don't need to go to Facebook, right? But you had mentioned, sometimes there is that, like, ease is wonderful. And you, my dear friend, have been such a huge offering for showing me that life can be easy. Like it can be, things can be easy. As I'm like losing my voice is changing. But I'd never heard that before. I'd never, it was always like, well, anything worth having is worth, putting in the effort and making it hard. However, ease is, like you said, it's a beautiful thing. It's really changed my life, approaching it from, hey, this can be easy, right? When you had said, sometimes you have to put in the effort. It's like, yeah. But putting in the effort when it's like moving me towards what I want is a whole different thing.
Right. And it doesn't mean it's hard. It means it requires that I'm going to say mindfulness and consideration.
Yeah.
Right. That's gentle effort. And it might take a lot of effort. However, it doesn't mean that it needs to be hard.
Right.
Do you remember that piece that I read to you? And I'm grabbing, where's the thingy here? Here, I'm grabbing my phone because this is something I was in part of a training and I was asked a question.
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can find that quickly. And I say if I can find it quickly because, sometimes I can't find things quickly. So I'm going to give you the floor while I look.
Yeah, I actually made a note on that. When you shared that in the call, it was really powerful. The note that I made, and I don't know if it makes sense here out of context, but the first thing I wrote that was an aha was the areas that are deficient, I have full control over. And then I wrote, yes, when something is askew, I can take control. I never have to settle. So when something is askew, I can take control. I never have to settle. And it brought me to the situation with my, in my apartment, which I absolutely love, but there's issues with the door and hearing a lot of outside noise from the hall, other people's doors slamming. And when I emailed the manager, they advised me that I had to take care of it myself. They had removed the rubber stripping along the door during the winter so that the door would close for me. Now that it's cooler because the AC is on, it means the doors really rattle and slam and there's a lot more noise. So I asked them if they could give me some weather stripping. And the reply was, you have to take care of it yourself. And I got a little frustrated, a little angry, and I wanted to tell her to go. I wanted to not be very nice. I didn't reply to the email. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. Then I recognized, wait a minute, like, this is not me. It's not me to want to tell someone to F off or be that angry over something small.
Right.
And with that release of the anger piece, I got to see that is so not me. Like, that's not it at all.
Right.
And wait a minute, I can do something about this. It's not putting it on them, whoever they are. Right? It's like bringing it back to me. Oh, that's not me. Oh, I want to fix my door. And you know what? I can do that. I actually ordered the weather stripping yesterday.
Excellent. Good for you.
Yeah, it comes in a huge roll, so I'll even have lots to share, which is what I also realized, is that I enjoy sharing yummy discoveries and things that I find, whether it's a great conversation platform or, weather stripping for a door.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't find what I read to you guys yesterday.
Oh,
I did find it, but it booted me out, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm not meant to share it. So if that's the case, I'll just take a deep breath and keep moving forward. So
yeah, it was really good. And the essence was that reminder that I am in control, even though it may seem that, well, I say seem, but I was putting it, I was sort of putting control on someone else, right? My thought was, I wanted to say in reply to the email, wait a minute, this is not a condo, I'm renting.
Right. So now it's like, let's look at that underlying, wait, this isn't a condo. It's like, no, you're wrong. I'm right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So here's the thing, and I share this often. I remember, oh my gosh, I'm going to say it was maybe 15 years ago, and I had this, I'm going to say, this moment of enlightenment, and it was so good because I can still see my husband's face. I was saying to him, sharing something with him, and he looked at me and he said, I suppose you think you're right. And I literally paused and I considered it, and I was like, yes, I do. And I said, I'm always right. And then that little thing, popped up, and it's like, oh, you better justify this. And I said, but you're right too. You're always right. Because and here's the golden nugget, from each of our perspectives, we're right. So my thing was, through the years, is recognizing that if everybody's right from their perspective, and yet I'm right from my perspective, there is no need to argue. There's no need to fight. There's no need to justify. And you know what? There's freedom in that, right? So rather, right? So you got on your, I'll say, high haunches a little bit. You kind of got your dander up, like, I'm not living in a condo. And then you went, wait a minute, what can I do? That's taking control. What can I do? Yeah. And that changes everything. It shifts your vibration and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels good.
Yeah. There is something about that feeling of power. It's like, it's good.
Just that, that looking for that good feeling, it's kind of a relatively new experience for me. As an adult, it was not a consideration before, like not looking for what feels good. And now I find that it benefits me and others as well. Right. It's not that selfish of, I'm going to do whatever makes me feel good. It's very different from that. It's
right. And just the way you said it, like, I'm going to do whatever makes me feel good. Right. Yeah. That's what it is. That is where the notion, if you wish, of selfishness comes up. And yet when you go and you ask yourself, I'm going to consider what feels right for me and what I need to do for myself right now.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That is selfless. And it's selfless because the more connected you are to yourself, the more peace you have within. And then what happens is the energy that is emitting or radiating or emanating, whatever word works for you, that energy that is coming from you is grounded and it's calm. And then what it does is, because it's emanating from you, it's touching that aspect of others as well. So it ignites that feeling within them. So when you're connected to yourself and considering what is right for you, that is being selfless.
Mm.
Doing something for someone because you were told you need to, and the whole time you're like grinding your teeth and rolling your eyes and how all these stories. That's not kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it sure to heck isn't being connected to who you are.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
So
liking,
selflessness.
yeah, I'm liking kindness more and more. And I feel this is really, it's big for me. It's huge actually, because I feel this was a missing piece where often I would feel, well, I'll use the word like a fraud, or not feeling genuine, not feeling as real and as caring as I wanted to feel. And I think a lot of that came from that, this old notion of kindness, which really was often being unkind to myself because it meant I was doing something for someone else, always putting another person, an animal, someone else first. And it really, oh, there's no benefit to that.
No,
No benefit at all. And
right.
it took a long
So
time to see it.
so it's the feeling, right, that tells you,
Yeah.
um, it tells you what's going on within you. That's when you know whether you're being genuine or not.
Right.
Because the feeling, if it feels good, it means that not only are you taking an action, you're connected to yourself. So there is this gentle flow forward, as opposed to doing something for the sake of doing it. From the outside, it appears you're being kind, yet the energy you're emanating is not that.
It's not. Right. Right.
So,
You mentioned this natural flow. I'm going to peek at my notes again because it just jogged something for me. It was, uh, right. It was actually what I believe I only wrote part of it out, but the piece that really, just really resonated was go with the natural flow of who you are. So this was again, going back to the, follow every impulse, follow the impulse, follow the thought that comes up. It's like, oh, and I realize now this was my own note, like note to myself based on what you were
right.
offering, right? But these are my words, like go with the natural flow of who you are and ride the wave until it comes in and lands.
Right, right. And I was saying that yesterday. And I think that might have been one of the things I said, write this down. Right.
Yeah, because I'm like, it doesn't really sound like it.
Because as you were saying, I was like, I said that. Right. And it's like where it lands. And what I was sharing was with, you're on this high, you're feeling the energy, you're in the flow, and you keep riding it until that aspect of it is done and it lands. There's not a boom, there's no crashing. It's this gentle landing. And when you land, you're connected to your truth. And when you stand in your truth, you are grounded.
Right.
Right. So it's riding that gentle flow that is you, and you're connected to it. That's why it is you, and it's coming from within. So I think we have given everyone lots to chew on and to consider. And the whole idea was, because people have been a little apprehensive to join the conversation. What is it about? What's it like? And it's just like we had today. and I wanted to share it with you so that you can consider coming on the call with us next Saturday. And it'll be from 9 until 10 Eastern Standard Time. However, I promise you, if there's a glitch and I get booted off for whatever reason, which happened yesterday, that I'll be back on to make sure that we have a full hour and a bit, because it's so important for me, from my perspective, to create that space for you to ask questions and have the space for you to consider what's there and discover the more that you are. Because I promise you, there is so much that you have to offer this world, and you are so brilliant. And if I can help you shed some light on that in any way, shape, or form, then I'm going to make sure that I do that. So, Lisa, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
So welcome. And yes, like come, just it's super easy. It's casual. Just, I love the flow. It's just a really great start to a Saturday. Yeah.
It's a gentle way of slipping into your day, and slipping into your day connected to what is moving within you, as opposed to jumping into the day, rushing into the day, and getting on your to-do list. No. This is, I always have my coffee cup with me. I literally brew my coffee 5 minutes before I hop on the call, because I want to be relaxed and just sit and visit. And I want it just to be, coffee amongst friends, just casual and relaxed.
And coffee's not a requirement. Water works as well.
Right. Well, absolutely. Tea, coffee, water, whatever it is for you. Maybe a hot chocolate. I might have one of those now. So it's always about you showing up and really having that space to ask the questions you want. So I really hope that you join us. No doubt. Are you going to be on next Saturday?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's in my calendar.
All right. So we've got, I think I decided to go till July 11th, every Saturday to July 11th. And it was funny the way that came up for me, because I was clicking and setting it up, and it said continue to repeat, and it said for the next, and the number 7 was there, and I thought, sure, and I clicked it. I was thinking maybe I would do it only during the month of June, and then I thought, okay, sure, let's go for 7. Let's go till then. And then you said on one of the calls, the first call said, oh, it's going till July 11th. I thought, okay, I should mark that down. So we will be live every Saturday from 9 to 10 minimum Eastern Standard Time. And apparently Lisa's going to be there too. So you'll have familiar faces, and we would love to have you be part of the conversation.
Love to see more women showing up. Would love it.
Well, it really builds on the conversation, the connection, and the discoveries, the insights. So, all right, I'm going to sign off, and I think I'm going to have a hot chocolate, because apparently I just talked myself into it. So I hope to see you all next Saturday. There's someone else that just popped in the group, and it says me too. She'll be there. Nancy will be with us. She has been with us past couple of weeks. So there's going to be 3 of us on 2 of us you've just seen, and we hope to see you there. And I'm sure Nancy would love to see you there as well, because the conversation just keeps on getting yummier and yummier every week. And honestly, the reason why I say it gets yummier is because I want to make sure you have something to sink your teeth into, something to really go, consider that. Actually, it's so funny, because I received a message from, Rolanda will be there too. Okay, we're going to have a party. Yay. I received a message from Lisa one night, and she said, I don't know if I sent her something or if I read something to her, and she said, oh, I looked at what you said, and it was like, it's just, And that's what the message was. And then on the message, she chuckles and she goes, well, it's just what it is. Like for me, it's
It was
just
just
good. Yeah. You know, so I want to leave you with that, the end of the call where you're like, and then you're, 2 hours later or 3 hours later, you're baking cookies and you're like, yeah, that was good. I want you to be left feeling that good, that all you can say is, what is it, that things that make you go, that. All right. I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining me. And anyone who has any questions, just drop them in the comments. And I'm going to go back. And Lisa, feel free to answer if you're able to. Feel free to answer their comments as well from your perspective as well.
All right. I'll say goodbye right now. This has been so good. Thank you so much, Amy.
All right.
All right. See you all next Saturday.
Yes, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. All right, huge hugs.
Huge hugs. See you.
9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Better get that right before we sign up. All right, huge hugs to everyone. Have a great evening, afternoon, day, whatever it is for you. Huge hugs.